This is the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe Limited. Is it better than ever? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I've borrowed this Rockwood Green with black interior 24 model of the Santa Fe Limited from my friends at Mike Morgan Hyundai. So if you're interested in maybe coming into the dealership and buying this model or anything else they may have in inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. And obviously for 2024, the Santa Fe has been fully redesigned, and while some people out there are saying it looks like a Land Rover Defender, I actually parked one next to a Land Rover Defender in a recent video and proved that that really isn't true. I'm still trying to find a Ford Flex to park it next to just for the fun of it to see what the similarities are. If anything, I would say there might be some similarities between the Ford Flex and this new Santa Fe, but let's see what you get if this is something you're interested in. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. The flickering effect has to do with my camera. It's not really happening right there. That would be interesting if it did. But you can see that you have the light running all the way across here on the front end, and you have the active shutters right here. They're opened right now. I'll see if they'll close later on. I could probably just turn the engine off and show you what that looks like when they're closed. But I did have somebody in a previous video I made with a Santa Fe that said they only open when the vehicle is in motion. Well, I've already proven that is not true. And we'll have active air curtains here on the corner. I don't know if you can see through there very well or not, but the air does flow through, helping you with gas mileage, and you have your sensors here for all of your different safety features on the front and the rear of the vehicle, everything you expect. This model is front wheel drive, but you can go all wheel drive if you so desire. In fact, let's move over here to this other side to give it a little bit better view without the sun and my shadow being in the way. Tire and wheel size, 255 on the width, a 45 series sidewall, and these are 20-inch wheels. And I like the lack of gloss black, especially around the fenders right here. It looks right. I just don't think that would fit here, especially with the silver trim on the lower portion of the doors down here. And as we work our way up, we're going to find the body-colored mirror caps. Turn signal indicators are built in. These are heated and power adjustable, also power folding side view mirrors. And real quick, seems like the appropriate time to show you the remote. It is a proximity key. It has remote start. You can see what all is there. Very easy to deal with. And one big advantage to the design, the boxy design that you have here, the nice, large, tall windows make it very easy to see out of. So that's going to be helpful. You'll have those roof rails up there. And we'll finish things off here on the rear with that same H look as we saw on the front end. So basically, really a mirror design. They match each other as they should. The Santa Fe logo here, and you do have a power tailgate back here. Also, the rear roof spoiler, and I like what Hyundai has done here, a clean look on the rear window. It's not that there isn't a rear window wiper, it's just not exposed. It's actually hidden away up inside. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is hidden away inside of the rear roof spoiler. The one thing I really wish Hyundai had done differently, and I realize most people probably are not concerned about this, but it would have been nice to have seen 2 exhaust outlets back here instead of just one. Maybe that's the monk in me coming out. And there are a couple of engine options to choose from. In this case, we have the 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 277 horsepower and 311 pounds-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed wet dual clutch automatic transmission. No CVT here. And how about those all-important MPGs? Well, if you go with this 2.5 liter, you're going to find 20 miles per gallon city, 29 highway, 24 combined, and 4.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And if you're curious about the second engine option, it is a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. That will be the hybrid powertrain version. It makes 232 horsepower and 271 pounds-feet of torque. And as I mentioned earlier, these active shutters right here are not always open, so I made sure you got to see what they look like when they're closed. And they open for a variety of different reasons. It's not just when the vehicle is in motion, as you saw earlier. And on the limited trim level, you will find a power tailgate. We'll open that up. 14.6 up to a maximized 79.6 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Very easy to deal with, maximizing cargo space. You can lower the rear seats from this area, and we can also lower the middle row seats. All I'm doing is pushing these buttons right here. That lowers down, as you can see, because I know a lot of people like to see everything maximized. So there you go. There is a spare tire located underneath the rear of the vehicle. Back here you have storage. Now you will find your cargo cover right here that mounts in these areas right here on each side. So obviously you can take that out when needed or put it back in place when needed. And there is space underneath that area right there, kind of concealed away by the cover. There's everything for changing your tire if you need to take advantage of the spare tire. You will also find the 12-volt power outlet right here. There are tie-down areas located back here. Let's see if I can get that out. There we go. One on each side. And then easy to see. I'm going to show you everything a little bit better here in just a minute, but it's kind of easy to show right here the USB option and the air conditioning vent. And over here on the passenger side, we'll also find a power outlet right there. And again, everything mirrored as far as the air conditioning vent and the USB option. And then you can control fan speed, or your rear seat passengers at least can control fan speed right there. Now, one thing I do like here compared to some other vehicles is that you don't have to reach as far into the interior if this strap winds up in this area. There is Velcro right here that makes it easy to gain access to that to put the rear seats back in place. And let's see if I can show you how these recline. So there you go. That seat is all the way up, really probably at an uncomfortable angle, but you can see the difference between the two. Some people have asked me to show that in these videos, so there you go. Now let's take a closer look at what your second and third row passengers are going to find. There are the privacy shades right here that can be put in place when so desired, and then a very comfortable armrest. Put your arm up there, it is nice and comfortable. A couple of different options here for bottle or drink holders right there, and right down here, really more of a bottle holder than I would call it a door bin, but that can be used for a multitude of purposes. And one thing I wanted to show here again, how far back these seats recline. Now, I don't know how well that would work with somebody sitting in that third row. However, there is the option for moving these seats up. Now, that's probably way further up than anybody would sit, but you really could maximize leg space in that rear area. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this seat just like it is, and we'll get in through the left-hand side. Now, one thing I do want to make sure you know, again, based on comments some of you have left in the past, you can, your rear seat passengers at least, can gain access from the driver or passenger side. You can see that by the button right here. So they can push that button, this seat will get up and out of the way just like the seat on the other side. And before we hop into the third row, here are the dual sunroofs. You have a conventional size in the front and really more of a panoramic view here in the rear. We'll go ahead and push the button right here. And as I said, that will get the seat up and out of the way. Very easy to deal with. And I'll hop inside and give you a look at what we have. Now, the seats are pretty far forward here, but you can see what's going on as far as my leg space goes. I do have a good bit of space here. I like that. But if I recline these seats back, I'm a lot more comfortable. It just depends on how tall a person is. So there is a lot of option there, but you can see if I hopped over onto this side, how much leg space do I have? Well, still enough. I'd be okay for a little while. Again, it depends on a person's height, but just so you can see what is there. And one more thing that I wanted to show, in fact, some of you might want to see what it looks like to look through the sunroof back here. There you go. You can also push this button right here to get the seat up and out of the way. That way, if the middle row passengers jump out and forget about the rear passengers, they can still get out with no problem. And as far as middle row passengers go, I'm going to have some space here within the rear seat pockets. There is a nice drawer here that will hold quite a bit. And also, you might notice there's no air conditioning vents on the rear of the center console, but that doesn't mean they're not here. They're just in a different location. So everybody does have their air conditioning vents. But one thing that I must say I really like, if somebody needs to gain access in the middle row to the center console, very easy to do as it opens in two different directions. Something that I think is very interesting, very unique, something you don't see on a lot of vehicles. And then there is the conventional size front sunroof. Tell me what you think. Would you rather have a continuous piece of glass here, or what do you think about the separation that we have with basically front and rear sunroofs? And I better make sure I mention the USB options that are here as well. Not located in a conventional position on the rear of the center console, but it's good to know they're still here in case you were wondering. You probably saw that earlier in the video. And for those who are saying, okay, Tom, I like what I see so far. I know we have some left to look at. What is the price? $45,145. And one thing I forgot to tell you about earlier in the video, I may have mentioned it, but I didn't show it to you. These are power folding side view mirrors. It's always helpful to know about that. A lot of you ask about it. There's the answer to your question. And while there's a lot of people who are saying that this new Santa Fe looks a lot like the Land Rover Defender, there's one thing here you will not find on a Land Rover Defender, and I'll show you what that is in just a second. Comfortable armrest, plenty of room here, a much larger door bin for your front seat passengers, and it's nice to see a lack of gloss black. While the piano black finish, as some call it, can look very nice, it fingerprints very easily. The silver trim that we have here, I think comes out nicely, as well as the rest of the materials. That's good thick plastic. I think that's going to hold up over the course of time. Power seats for the driver and the passenger, and they are also heated and ventilated. And before I hop all the way into the interior, let's take a look at the pass-through right here. Plenty of room. There is a 12-volt power outlet, if I can open that up, hidden away right here among multiple options for connectivity. And we'll hop inside, and much as is the same way, at least based on what I see, with the front and rear blinkers that look like the H, well, you also have that right here with the design of the air conditioning vents. At least that's what I'm seeing. Not sure if that's intentional or not, but a clean look. And that one thing that is here that you won't find in any Land Rover Defender or a Ford Flex has to do with this button right here. When you turn that on, here's what happens. You have the sanitizer, the UV sanitizer right here that's kind of hidden away by that sticker. But see that area right there? You can put anything that will fit in there. A watch, a cell phone, a wallet, keys, I don't know, anything. A pen, a pencil, whatever will fit in this area right here, and you can sanitize it. Kind of an interesting thing that Hyundai has done where that is concerned. And a little bit of space in this area right here as well. So Hyundai making good use of available space. Your typical glove box is here as well. Now, like I said, there's your button to turn that on. You'll notice what it says right there. So that's how you turn on the UV sanitizer. There are more USB options. You have a wireless phone charger right here and your cup holders. And I really like not only the design and size of the center console lid, but also its usability as a multitasker. Not only a lid, but an armrest as well, and plenty of space within. You're going to find the light right there that's going to help out to keep things easy to see after dark. And let's see if we can get rid of some of the dark. There we go. So you can see the upper console and see what all is there. And what I would consider the main area of attraction for a lot of you, because this is where you're going to spend all of your time. But if you have someone else spending time in the driver's seat, well, good news. You have two different settings for seat memory. That's always good. And since these are freshly tinted windows, they're telling me not to roll them down. Tom, don't you dare roll those windows down. so I won't. But you know what's here. Controls for your side view mirrors, the lock and unlock button right there, and the controls for your windows. And we can see what all you have here as well. Traction control, you can turn your traction control on and off. You can open the rear door back there, and your power parking brake, another air conditioning vent, and the lever right here, you can drop that to control the position or change the position of the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And speaking of the steering wheel, let's take a quick look at that. A nice look. Steering wheel mounted controls. You do have the paddle shifters to work your way back and forth through the 8-speed automatic transmission. And then over here, you're going to control the functionality of the lights. Now, one thing we don't have here are fog lights. What do you think about that? Do you think there should be some fog lights available on this model? Some people ask for that. I'm always curious to know what your thoughts are. And right here, you can control the front and rear window wipers. Now, we have a very nice look here with the dual screens, the instrument cluster and your center screen right here, or the touch screen. Curved, nice look, looks modern, but it's the functionality that really matters here because it's driver focused. It's pointed at the driver basically. That makes things easy to deal with for the driver as far as that goes. And when we go into the screen, there's a lot going on here, but that doesn't mean it's complicated. You also have a lot of space here to rest your hand that just makes it easier to move around and do different things you might need to do. We're going to close that. But let's go in here into settings, and I want to show you something right here. You can go in and make a lot of changes to a lot of different features here. You're going to have your digital keys, by the way. I didn't mention that earlier. You can go to climate. Drive modes, you want to know what your drive modes are? Let's go to drive modes. We're going to have a few different options here. You can change your alert right there if you want to, depending on what you want to do. If you want to change to sport mode, there you go. You can go to smart, normal and smart. Interesting. Wonder what the differences are between that. Does that have to do with the driver or the car? I guess that just depends. You can make your own decisions on that. Yes, I'm just being sarcastic. It's okay to laugh. And steering, you have a couple of choices there as well. So if you want normal or sport steering, but you want the powertrain to be normal, sport, or smart, let's not get tongue twisted there. Again, you can laugh at that. I can hear you laughing. It's okay. I'd laugh too if I was watching and listening to what I just said. There you go. You can see how you deal with that. And then obviously you can go here to lights and make changes there as well. There is a lot going on here, so much that some people might think, man, that's too much. But actually, it's really not that difficult, not that complicated. And a lot of you are likely familiar with the shifter here. It's not really anything new to Hyundai. But one thing I did want to show here, we get a lot of people, as I said, that are talking about how this model looks a lot like the Land Rover Defender. Well, here's something interesting. Let's take a look at our different camera views, because there's one thing here that is kind of Defender-like in a way, and that is going to be the 360-degree view. Now that I can say looks like the Defender as far as the functionality goes, but it actually seems to be more responsive. That's kind of interesting. Some of you might not have the experience to know, but since I use or make a lot of videos with all these different vehicles, I know how that works. I really think that's kind of a neat thing, how Hyundai has done that. Very convenient, very easy. And you do have your dual zone climate control up here. And like I said earlier, here are your heated seats, 3 different stages, and then ventilated, something we definitely need today. If you're living in a cold climate and you're really cold right now, just hold your hands up to the screen. I promise you'll warm up, because we're headed for 85 degrees and we're in late February. Hope that's not an indicator of what the summer's going to be like. And one thing I did want to show here, you have some of your one-touch switches down here, including you can turn the auto stop start system off or idle stop off right there. I always recommend doing that. And your drive mode selector. You don't have to go into the screen to select driving modes. So you can see the changes that take place with that in 3 different modes, in case you were curious. And one last thing, you may have seen this earlier. You'll notice cluster right here. If you want to change the look of the instrument cluster? Well, you can change it right here, cluster theme selection. So I'll just go through here and make a couple of changes. It really just depends on what it is you want to see. So you have several different options to choose from. Just depends on your mood or your personal desires, whatever you might want to leave that on or just leave it as it comes. And I apologize for the flickering light. Just not much we can do about that. Maybe I can just hide that with my hand like that. There we go. But I wanted to show you around the interior here within the Santa Fe Limited, just so you can see the ambient lighting. And it does work its way into the rear seating area, so hopefully you can see that. And in case you're wondering, how do you change that? Can you change it? And the answer is yes. We're going to go into settings. We're going to go into vehicle right here, and then we'll go to lights, and we'll also go right here to ambient lighting. So you can change the brightness if you want to. You can also go right here and change the color. So depending on what you want to see, there's actually quite a few different options. Very similar, not identical to, but similar to the Mercedes-Benz models that we've featured in the past, where you can change the ambient lighting to numerous different colors. The same thing applies here. Very easy to deal with if you want to go around right here, or we can go back here and make changes by simply selecting a color. Just so you can see what's here and what the options are. I don't know how well that's showing up. Hopefully really well. Now let me cover this up. In fact, let me do this real fast. There we go. Something I didn't show earlier is the fact that you have the blind spot cameras basically built into your side view mirrors. That's one reason why it's always good to use your blinkers, especially on a model like this that has that feature. It just makes it so much more convenient. And a real quick look around the exterior as far as what it looks like. One thing that I talked about earlier, and you could probably see it because it was flickering with the light that runs all the way across here. I like what Hyundai has done with that. Now, some people will say they don't like that H look with the turn signal indicators and the daytime running lights. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. Some people might like it, some people might not. Might take a little time to grow on people. Okay, let's get out on the road for the test drive. And one of the big differences for 2024 is going to be the uptick in horsepower with the 2.5 liter. So you went from 191 horsepower with the previous generation to now 277. So there's definitely a noticeable difference here compared to what we've seen in the past. So if you drive one of these, maybe you own a 23 or older model, and you drive one on a test drive, you're definitely going to notice the difference. It gets down the road with absolutely no problem. Not that 191 horsepower was weak, it just wasn't as much as what we have now. So I really am impressed with how that works. It's very enjoyable, very manageable. When you need to get up to speed, you can get up to speed and do whatever you need to do. Get around slower moving traffic, merge into traffic. When you're getting onto the interstate, which hopefully you're driving a little faster than the traffic is moving, kind of a hint there for some drivers. What about ride quality? With this front wheel drive model, the ride quality is comfortable by my standards. Everybody, you need to drive these vehicles to find out for yourself. I'm going to tell you that it's nice and comfortable. Someone else might tell you, well, it's comfortable, but not as comfortable as I'd hoped. Or they might say, Tom, you should have really elaborated because the ride quality is so smooth. And one thing I did forget to mention earlier in the video, you probably saw it down here, but you have a heated steering wheel. So you saw the button down there possibly earlier in the video where you can turn that on. There's a lot going on here. You get a lot of features, a lot of options for the money. A very easy vehicle to drive, and as you see, based on what I've shown you in the video, you've got your blind spot monitoring, you have when you turn your turn signals on each side, you have the corresponding camera that shows you what's in your blind spot. It just makes everything so much easier to deal with. The safety features here, easy to deal with, easy to use. Everything here is really, I think, very simple to deal with. Now this is, like I say, a front wheel drive model. You can go all-wheel drive if you want to. And obviously there's a lot of features we could add depending on trim level. Hopefully we'll get a calligraphy in the near future and can show you the extras that you'll find on that particular model. Overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. The one thing I know a lot of people have said they don't really like as much is the overall exterior design. But what do you think about that? I'm curious to know who likes it and who doesn't. All right, tell me what you think about the all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe Limited. Is it better than ever? And when I can, I'll show you the calligraphy trim level. Just haven't had a chance to do that just yet because they haven't had one here at Mike Morgan Hyundai. So tell me what your thoughts are on this particular model. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Hyundai for loaning me this Santa Fe for the day. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel just yet, please be sure to do that so you don't miss future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.